In 1568, a small boat scraped against the English shore. Mary, Queen of Scots, stepped onto the sand. Soaked, exhausted, and fleeing her own kingdom. She wasn't carrying an army, she wasn't carrying a crown, she was carrying a letter addressed to the most powerful woman in England. She believed her cousin, the Queen of England, would save her. She was wrong. That single step onto English soil would ultimately cost her nearly 19 years of her life, and eventually, her head. May 1568. Mary, Queen of Scots, was 35 years old, and she had already lost everything: her kingdom, her freedom, the trust of her own nobles. Just weeks earlier, she had escaped from Loch Leven Castle, where Scottish lords had forced her to abdicate her own throne. She rallied an army, tried to retake Scotland, and was defeated in a single afternoon. With nowhere left to go, Mary made a fateful decision. She would cross into England and throw herself on the mercy of her cousin, Elizabeth I, Queen of England. It seemed logical. They were family, both granddaughters of Henry VII, both queens in a world that distrusted female rulers. Mary believed Elizabeth would sympathize, would offer troops, or at the very least, safe passage to France. What she didn't understand was the political problem she represented. Mary was Catholic, Elizabeth was Protestant, and to millions of Catholics across Europe, Mary had a claim to the English throne, stronger than Elizabeth's own. As long as Mary lived and remained free, she was a rallying point for every Catholic noble, every foreign king, and every conspirator who dreamed of overthrowing Elizabeth. When Mary crossed into England in the spring of 1568, she crossed into a trap she had built for herself. Section 1. The Spymaster. To understand how Mary's story ended, you need to understand one man, Sir Francis Walsingham, Elizabeth's principal secretary and spymaster. If Elizabeth was the face of English power, Walsingham was its nervous system. He built the most sophisticated intelligence network Europe had ever seen. Agents in France, Spain, Italy, in the courts of foreign kings, in the offices of foreign ministers, and most critically, inside Mary's own circle. Walsingham understood something most politicians of his age did not. Information was more powerful than armies. If you knew what your enemy was planning before they acted, you didn't need to fight them. You could simply let them destroy themselves. For years, he had watched plot after plot form around the imprisoned Mary. The Ridolfi plot of 1571, the Throckmorton plot of 1583. Each time he uncovered the conspiracy, arrested the plotters, and watched in frustration as Elizabeth refused to take the one step he believed necessary, eliminating Mary permanently. By 1586, Walsingham had decided to end the problem himself, not with a sword, but with a letter. Section 2. The Babington Plot. Enter Anthony Babington, a young Catholic nobleman from Derbyshire, charming, wealthy, recklessly idealistic, and completely out of his depth. Babington had been corresponding with Mary for some time, pledging his loyalty, dreaming of glory. In the spring of 1586, those dreams became a plan: assassinate Elizabeth, free Mary, and, with Spanish military support, place her on the English throne. What Babington didn't know was that Walsingham had known about him for months. One of Babington's closest friends was a spy. The secret channel Babington believed he had established with Mary had been compromised from the very beginning. Every letter hidden inside beer barrels, smuggled into Chartley Manor, copied before delivery, read before it arrived. Every message, every code, every secret, already belonged to Walsingham. His chief codebreaker, Thomas Phillips, had cracked the cipher. From that moment, they could read everything. But Walsingham didn't move. Reading the letters wasn't enough. He needed Mary to condemn herself, in her own handwriting, in her own coded words. So he let the conspiracy grow. Let Babington write his letter, let it reach Mary, and then he waited for her reply. Section 3. The Fatal Letter. On July 17, 1586, Mary answered. It was a long letter, a detailed letter, a devastating letter. She discussed the plan, offered advice, asked about foreign troops, and endorsed what historians would later call the Six Gentlemen, the men selected to kill Elizabeth. The moment Phillips decoded her response, he knew the game was over. Legend says he drew a small gallows on the document, a silent prediction. There is one final detail historians still debate. Before forwarding Mary's letter, Philippe appears to have inserted a forged postscript, a request for the names of the assassins, perhaps to strengthen the evidence, perhaps because Walsingham wanted absolute certainty. Whatever the reason, it revealed something important. Walsingham wasn't simply observing the conspiracy, he was shaping it. Within weeks, Babington and his co-conspirators were arrested, tried, and executed. Then came Mary's turn. Her papers were seized, her coded correspondence exposed, her denials overwhelmed by the evidence, and the trap that had been closing for 19 years finally snapped shut. No armies marched, no castles fell, no battle was fought. And yet, within months, one of the most powerful women in Europe was condemned to die. On February 8, 1587, Mary, Queen of Scots, walked to the execution scaffold. The letter had finished its work.